Our excellent best of three continues, and what better final battlefield than Inferno? FaZe and Vitality trade maps if you just joined us. If you can believe it, Vitality actually lost on Nuke. And now all the chips have been planted firmly down on the table, with FaZe starting on the T side, already barreling their way up Banana. And only Shox is here, although he's about to be joined by Apex.
A lot of map control given up for free by the CT side, but of course you can't really contest on these pistol rounds. ZywOo's taken a lot of early damage on his initial peak, and he's had to fall back out of long. Shox picking up a full bank of utility for this CT side as well, but FaZe by no means short on it. 2 smokes, 2 flashes, a Molotov on Cold Zero as well. And it looks like those early nades are going to go towards this B bomb site. A bomb site even, there you go. I'll get there in the end.
It's all good. It's been a bit of a marathon of a best of three. I'm sure the players are feeling it right now. The smokes haven't quite been tossed out yet, but I think you are on the money that they will be momentarily. First smoke on the hay bales. On the balcony side, Alex cannot see a single thing. And the second one on the wraparound towards Library. This is going to force ZywOo to push back onto the side. He is the lowest player on the server, but still flicks to the head of Rain. That must have been a hell of a flick from his perspective. All we saw was Rain do a backsalt and fall and crack his neck on the pavement. RPK in the meanwhile, though, is doing so much damage with his USP. Not able to claim any more, but it's a 2-on-2 retake post-plant with Nico getting the equality and throwing it out of the window alongside Vitality into the bin. 1-0 start.
And a perfect start for FaZe as well. They get through it relatively cleanly. RPK doing God's work in the pit, trying to find as many frags as possible, buying so much time for the rotation as well. But then Nico reads it to perfection, rips Shox's head off, and Vitality going to be looking at an awkward fall by, shall we say. ZywOo's going to pick himself up the scout and some utility pistols across the board for his teammates, as it's 3 rifles and a couple of SMGs for FaZe to try and farm some cash. Okay, ZywOo.
All right, ZywOo, don't worry about it, mate. Just pop them in the face then. That works too. Nico has to contend with an aggressive Vitality rushing down middle. And they have been rewarded, not just with ZywOo's first frag, but Alex's CZ is also going to chip in with a kill. Shox using the tunnels to try and wrap back around towards the A side. The downside on Vitality, though, is with all this aggression in middle, they've given up B.
It looked so good initially as well. They got a couple of opening picks, but Brokey and Nico have brought this one back, and the timing not quite going to favor Shox on that one, as the bomb goes down in a 3-on-3, and Cold in such a good position to shut this one down. Shox and Alex looking for the double peek. The Mac 10's at range, will be able to trade 1-for-1 at the very least, but ZywOo is going to have to do such a job here on this scout. Headshot onto Brokey, that's the perfect start. And with Nico on 34 HP, that scout turns into an AWP. Surely not for Vitality. They've got to get moving. There's no defuse kit available, and with every second that bomb ticks down, this becomes more and more unlikely. They're falling away from it now, Vitality. They look like they're done with this round. They want to take down Nico for his trouble, and ZywOo is looking for the shot, can't quite find it. The round will be FaZe's, but the bomb will clean up the full team. Nico goes down with it, and although Vitality don't get the round, they do so much damage in the process.
And they keep 2 Galils. That is a big turn of events for Vitality. Obviously, they'll be bitterly disappointed, especially ZywOo landing 2 slick headshots with the scout, opening the round off and finishing it as well, opening and closing that book. But you can see for FaZe, because they've had to replenish all 5 players, they have very little in the bank. So Vitality, 3 grenades, lining up for a carpet bomb down Banana. But there's no one to greet it just yet. They're going to be pushing behind it, this time getting aggressive in Banana. Olof just needs to call for the rest of his team. All right, heavy engagement Banana, start to make a move out towards middle. FaZe haven't quite answered the call just yet, though.
The damage has been done. The Molotov ticking, Shox, Apex, and RPK down. And now as Rain starts to make his rotation, Alex making his way onto the bomb site, looking to hold the one-man stand as the push starts to come in. Rain immediately drops down. The flashbang is perfect from Nico, and it opens up this A bomb site for the T side. FaZe, they've got everything they could possibly want. The pistols will look to aggress in towards spawn, but Olof there whiffs the first spray, and now he's going to be under a lot of pressure. RPK takes that frag, and RPK on the P250. Never right off the tank. ZywOo gets another on the Galil, and somehow this is a 3-on-2 for NiKo and Rain. Again, no defuse kit and so little health for the CT side, but they're keeping FaZe's economy incredibly fragile.
That's exactly it. And as long as they stay in these positions, again, the bomb will do the work for Vitality. They must realize that they are slowly choking FaZe's economy into the bin. The Dosia nade is being tossed in, does plenty of damage, and now they know there's nowhere to hide. There's no safe place for FaZe. They get blown to smithereens, and Vitality will hold on to those 2 Galils, which have turned antique at this point. Might actually be worth more to trade in Vitality.
It's an awkward position for FaZe to find themselves in, and it's not something you normally see, right? FaZe are 3-0 up, and they're looking at their economy and going, well, we can barely buy utility behind these AK-47s. It's going to be a Galil for NiKo, Cold, and Olof. Vitality have done such a good job when they don't win the rounds of keeping the economy honest, and they are going to stick with those 2 Galils on ZywOo and Apex as Alex towards the top of Banana takes the early AWP. Lovely nade onto Brokey and NiKo to get some opening damage, but they have had to fall back the CT side.
They have to start things off, but they fell back into positions where they can punish the T's, and NiKo peaks 1 too many times. Alex taking the AWP over ZywOo, and it's working out phenomenally. They're holding it all down. The only player that can actually kill Apex at this point is Alex. But Olofmeister at least does counteract. He does have control of the bomb as well, and enough time to play some games. He wants something other than a Galil. There's only 2 of them under him. Now he's got the AK. He's going to start to make a move back down Banana, and you know what, Wolfie? This is winnable.
He's heard that push, and he's called it perfectly, although Shox, 1 step ahead of the opposition, has already rotated all the way around into that A-bomb site. He's going to sit towards the top of Graveyard and look to shut down this 1v3 before it ever gets started. ZywOo on the B bomb site, yet to pick himself up that AWP. I imagine that's the only reason he's still there, is he's scavenging for it. RPK, the first to wander into Olof's crosshair, brought down low, and now he's under pressure, has to swing and finds the frag nonetheless. Vitality will get their first on the board. ZywOo salvages the AWP, and that hold from Alex towards the B bomb site was sublime.
Olof should have packed armor-piercing rounds to go against the tank. Just tags him down low, but can't get the job done. And this is where, as you highlighted, all that previous damage catches up with FaZe.
There's no economy here. They've had to call a timeout 4 rounds in. Vitality win 1 round, and their cash is absolutely broken. There's nothing they can do. Arguably, they may as well go for the force here. They're not going to be able to buy into the next round, so I'd give them some armor, some pistols. See what you can do to Vitality. See if you can do to them as they have been doing to you. But the buy over on the CT side of things is spectacular, to say the least. They've got a decent amount of cash left in the bank and full banks of utility across the board. Vitality, they really couldn't wish for any better. And it's actually going to be Cold, NiKo, and Rain who invest heavily, and now Brokey to round things out for FaZe Clan.
As you say, it didn't really have many other options available to them. Now, Vitality would do well not to go aggressive again. That could play into the wheelhouse of FaZe. Play to your enemy's weaknesses, which is at range. It's later on in the round when they're forced to push onto sites. You get in your turret positions, your static defense. You get those crossfires established. You turn those assault rifles effectively into mounted machine guns. And FaZe will get sprayed and mowed down. So I love that they're playing more of a passive default line here for Vitality. The question is, though, do FaZe have the individual ability with these deagles in particular to rip some heads off of shoulders and put themselves into a position to potentially win this round?
I mean, if there's any team you'd be looking at deagles and going, okay, maybe it's FaZe, and it's going to be Rain making his way around first of all. Apex not quite able to find the shot, and that's going to be the trigger for FaZe Clan. They're going to go fast towards this B bomb site. Alex playing on the edge of the smoke, hoping for a timing, gets the first on the spray down, but nothing more. Olof immediately trades, and it's all onto Apex on this bomb site. He's managed to get the first, but he's running out of bullets, and Cold will immediately trade for the 3-on-3. There's 2 rifles recoverable as well for this T side of FaZe. They've got the bomb site, and once again, Vitality are going to be required to retake.
Under normal circumstances, you'd fancy Vitality to fairly easily take this round, but because they have no incendiaries, no HEs, these angles like Shadow are going to be very difficult to deal with, especially as they're double stacked, and one of those players is going to be called Zera. Now, we know in bygone times in MIBR, he effectively got baited into so many good positions, and that's what the kind of strat that they're going to go for again here. They're going to put it all on Cold Zera. The time is so very low. Shock's around the corner with 2, but that final player is going to be having a peek. It's going to be incredibly close. Do they have it in time, Vitality? You better believe it. The retake is a success, but it could have been a horribly awful situation.
The utility very nearly became their downfall, but keeping all 3 players alive, Vitality managed to pull it off, and they put themselves in a fantastic position to draw level here. FaZe Clan with that bomb down, they do get a little bit of an injection of cash, but off the back of the force buy, once again, they're going to find themselves on Deagles. Not that that is necessarily a bad thing. FaZe have shown us just how lethal they can be with the hand cannons in tow, and Vitality, they'll do well to heed warning to that. Shock's picking up the MP9 as he perhaps looks to farm a little bit more cash for the CT side.
FaZe gonna slow it down again. I was a little bit worried there for Vitality, and I think the main mistake, you can give up the bomb plant. It's not the end of the world. I was very surprised that Apex actually re-peaked twice and gave his life away. If he just stays in runes, it was a 4v3 retake. He already is up close around the coffin area. At that point, it should be a formality. But with him falling down, it's an extra gun that goes into the hands of FaZe. It's an extra bit of utility that's no longer on the table. There are a lot of moments there which were a little bit rough. Now, getting back into the here and now, FaZe have made a move up middle. There is the fast flank available for Alex, who's already halfway down Banana. But this should be a massacre, Wolfie. It's hard to see how FaZe can feasibly do anything from this position. Yeah,
Shock's very nearly got on the receiving end of that flashbang and managed to find himself a couple of kills. Instead, he's going to flash himself in again. And FaZe, they're absolutely trapped at this point. They are stuck in top of bracket, and they don't have anywhere else to go. RPK peeking wide will spot out the first, and perhaps cautiously will just make sure his head isn't exposed. Olaf, though, has managed to get a decent position. ZywOo shuts him down, but can't quite find the second flick. That's what Rain has been so good at doing, and he's found a second as well onto Apex. That's opened up the flank, and CT is looking vulnerable. The B bomb site looking like it might be in trouble here. Alex hightails his way back around, but this is going to have to be a plant denial. 15 seconds left on the clock. How many frags can Alex find?
Alex the Sentinel, the IGL, in the right position to spray him down, but he goes down to the hands of Nico. I can't believe that FaZe have just done that.
I mean, if there's any team with Deagles, right?
I'm actually shocked. Like, actually speechless. How?
It's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it? And especially considering how much damage Alex gets out at the very end there. If Brokey doesn't hit that AWP shot, the round is essentially done, right? He's on 34 HP. I think Nico had like 3 or something ridiculous. So it was so close, but FaZe, they're always in with a shot. And when you give Rain those openings on the Deagle, we spoke about him on Mirage with the Deags and how good he can be, and he's just shown us again. It's put Vitality back, forced to buy into this one, forced to invest all of their economy, and the double AWP setup is going to eat a nade early on as Alex goes down to 35 HP and has to give up his banana control.
I'm still at a loss of words, Wolfie. I just... Nothing makes sense. Vitality have got to be on full tilt right now. But they've got to dust that off. Back of their minds, double AWPs. Utility available. ZywOo turned on. Everything is beautifully poised for a phenomenal Inferno. That much we can say. ZywOo now watching Boiler. Middle was smoked off. The downside here for Vitality, however, is they have nobody over on the archers, and that is why Apex is coming back around. Again, though, this leaves Alex on B alone, and he's on 35 HP.
It's a big call, to say the least. At the moment, looking like the right one, though, as FaZe are trying to make their presence known. They've got 3 players in towards the apartments, but with Olaf finding that frag, they may just call off the push. They still go for it, and ZywOo finds the collat. Nico and Cold go down. He gets another onto Brokey, and that was the wrong decision, FaZe. Olaf Meister has got to try and make his way all the way back with 30 seconds on the clock to find the 1v3. Oh, if only they'd gone towards B.
Oh, hindsight's always 20/20, as is that scope positioned on the top of ZywOo's AWP. It sees everything clearly. You cannot escape him. 3 kills in the round. Olaf's just going to try and save. So after breaking Vitality mentally, and me to a degree as well, FaZe have then ran into the blender, and ZywOo was the chef pressing the button.
I get the feeling that collat's probably going to be one for the highlight reel as well. And importantly, Apex makes his way all the way around to that B-bomb site and manages to recover the AWP. So the double AWP setup is still holding firm for Vitality. They're still keeping their economy rolling, as we will see FaZe going for some kind of a buy, I'd imagine, around Olof and around this AWP, pick up a few upgraded pistols. Cold's going to go for the Deagle, but at the moment, that looks like about the sum of things. A few nades for Brokey and Nico to perhaps try and break this deadlock, but realistically, it's going to have to be a one-man show here. Olof is going to have to pull something off with this AWP for FaZe to get into this round.
The thing is, though, they, a couple rounds ago, won with an even worse buy than this. So Vitality can't take anything for granted. There's a pop flash. As soon as Alex takes contact, that flash will be tossed in. He'll use that sandbag as cover, or not. He'll get insta-peeked by Olof with the AWP. An audacious play, but you have to go for plays like that in these kind of buys.
What is this situation for FaZe now? Double AWP on the T side, a Deagle and 2 Glocks as they go straight through. The pop flash is good, but they haven't cleared Apex yet. He's going to get so many kills for free. A quick triple on the spray down, but Brokey and Olof Meister reply. And somehow FaZe are still in this. A huge mistake, but it's not the end of the world as Olof Meister finds another and shocks. He's only got an MP9. He's up against the double AWPs. Brokey and Olof, what a duo to have for FaZe. That bomb ticking down. He knows he's got to clear every angle, and there is nothing doing. Again, FaZe pull off what should be utterly impossible.
Impossible is nothing in this best of 3, apparently. Nothing makes sense. Vitality, how are you allowing this to happen? FaZe, how are you this damn good all of a sudden? You were having a horrific performance on Mirage. Where did this come from?
It's like a completely different team are in the server now, and Vitality, they look as shocked as you were, lost for words. It's just everything is going right for FaZe right now, and as Vitality will go for the force buy, it is not pretty reading. They've got an M4 for Apex, a FAMAS for RPK, but that's the end of the rifles, and it's down to the pistols for ZywOo, Alex, and Shox. Such a strong position for FaZe to be in, and this is the perk of winning those kind of rounds. It really boosts your economy. Brokey on $6,600, Olof with $3,250. If they get through this round cleanly, FaZe have set themselves up beautifully for the remainder of this first half.
Absolutely. Could start to run away with this if Vitality are not careful. I'd like to see a timeout called sooner rather than later, just to slow things down a little bit. If they can get a stranglehold over on this round, then perhaps they can start to run with their own streak. Shox smoked off on the coffin's going to relocate. There's a smoke to greet FaZe, but the spray through the smoke, courtesy of Nico, banishes Apex to the bench momentarily. And FaZe Clan still have 2 smokes at their disposal. They can either go for an execute on CT and coffins on B side, or maybe even wrap around back onto A. They have options available.
Shox has at least managed to pick up that M4 for Vitality, so he's got something to work with. But again, FaZe are reading this really well. They're leaving Rain just to be alert. He's going to find some damage through the smoke and actually find another frag. That's 2 players from Vitality taken out through smokes, and that's going to open up so many avenues of opportunity. The rotations come through, and it leaves Alex all on his own as FaZe look to pincer in. He's trying to play as long as he can behind the boxes, but there's nothing doing. RPK finally gets an idea what's going on, but at this point, he just needs to save, and ZywOo and RPK, they'll make their way back towards the B bomb site, try and hold on to their rifles. FaZe will go 3 rounds ahead at 6-3, and this is a performance and a half from them.
It really can't be understated the importance of that kill that Rain got through the smoke, though. Because he gets that spray, not only does it force one rotation, it forces 2. They took 2 players from Archers and Speedway, rotated them over, which I believe was ZywOo and RPK, who are now still alive, off the site, leaving just 1 player to defend against everyone. Now, keep in mind that FaZe got onto the site and planted with about 13 seconds left. If that kill goes the other way, they can keep a second player on Archers. All it takes is for 1 or 2 kills, and this round goes against FaZe. So that moment was huge.
Small margins between these 2 teams, and small margins are all that remain of Team Vitality's finances. They've got some huge decisions to make again. ZywOo and RPK, of course, saving from the previous round, but Alex, Shox, and Apex have near enough no money. Apex is going to be dropped the CZ, in fact. as the full buy comes out again for FaZe. And again, they just need to get through this round cleanly. That's all they have to do. Get their 7th on the board without losing too many rifles, and then look to build the rest of your half from there.
Looking pretty bare bones, but ZywOo with the M4 gets 2 kills down Banana. At least Brokey can salvage a bit of sanity for FaZe, but hefty damage inflicted. Additionally, with the early trades, it means that Alex and Apex, who only had pistols going into the round, can now pick up those 2 assault rifles and run with them. So they have a bit of reinforced weaponry as a result. They're going for a double stack as well, and if this goes unchecked, FaZe could be walking into a massacre again. They could be walking head first into this. There's a flashbang down, but it does just as much towards FaZe's aggression as it does to Vitality. They now have to play advantage. They pull back. How many rounds are we going to see the worst weapons, worst utility somehow prevail?
I think it speaks volume to the skill of these players, how much they're making these awful buys work for them. And unfortunately for Alex, his teammate has abandoned him. Playing on the fountain now with the FAMAS, it's going to be all on the timing. Alex able to find the first onto Cold. Brokey switching out to the Deagle. Nothing he can do. I said FaZe needed to get through this cleanly, and instead they have lost it. Alex even able to recover an AWP at the very end of things. Luckily for FaZe, they will be able to buy as Vitality take the timeout and start to talk over perhaps what went so well in that round.
It's just so sloppy from FaZe though. Like, yeah, it was a cool little stack they had on sandbags, having 2 players at different angles of verticality for the headshot angle, but FaZe have got to expect that that kind of a play can come in. You've just killed 2 players on Banana. You know that ZywOo had an M4. I don't think they realized the second player to FAMAS, though, is obviously a different sound when being fired, so they probably did actually in the moment. So if you're assuming that Vitality are on a low buy, you've got to think they might retrieve those guns. And if they do, there's not enough time for them to rotate at that point, and they may be in that position. All it takes is one flash, and that stack is completely dealt with. Now, a flash did come in, but it actually hit their primary entry with the AWP. I can't remember who it was. I think it may have been Olof, was peeking up Banana. He went for the peek and the flash lands in his eyes. It's just such a sloppy, unneeded round by FaZe.
It's those small mistakes that have allowed Vitality an opportunity to get back into this game, and that has been a consistent theme, to be fair, as ZywOo picking Brokey out of the air to open things up, and that is exactly what Vitality will do. You make a mistake and they immediately punish, and you can see FaZe, desperate to perhaps make something of that loss of life, are going to go fast towards the bracket, take a little bit of map control back from the CT side, but the confidence in ZywOo is real. He is alone towards the B bomb site, and that's allowing 4 CT players to hunker down in A.
Another explosive start. This time it's ZywOo who holds B alone. It's typically been Alex up until this point, but they have switched around AWPing duties. It's typically been based off spawn. Bomb still back on the T steps. Utility certainly present. Being tossed out just to lock down a few more angles. Alcove and Arches will play no further part, but there's a 3-player stack here. Once that Molotov clears, they're going to go in for the peaks, and Rain has been put down with authority by Alex, who will turn tail and run away. They don't need to re-peek. They've got a 2-player advantage now.
It looks good for Vitality, and ZywOo on an off angle as well, as Alex finds another, and ZywOo will help himself to a second at this point. Cold, the last man alive, at least able to take one head with him as he takes down ZywOo and does actually take the AWP away from Vitality for a while. Alex in a good position to stop this push, but fully blinded. Cold Zero will get the second, and surely not. He's looking for the ace clutch. He's looking for the 1v5. 2 players make their way up Banana as Apex looks to make his way in from CT. Cold sets himself up in towards construction. The angle held well by the Krieg, but Apex just going to pass him by. He's managed to recover a Molotov as well, Cold. He's got an opportunity here, holding the angle. All 3 players from Vitality will make their way in. And how long can he hold this one down? RPK taps the bomb. The Molotov will give away Cold's position. He's trying to clear so many angles at once. The HE will dunk onto him. 31 HP left. He gets the first on the spray down, but he can't quite find the second. And Vitality, they will have enough time. They will make the retake happen, although it was far closer than it ever should have been.
Way too close for comfort, but a round is a round. And FaZe Clan will be bitterly disappointed that they are letting this slip. At one point, it was looking like they were going to run away with this. They win the first pistol. They get the subsequent rounds. It's 3-0. Then Vitality come back with a couple of rounds. They break them down again. At one point, they were winning this 6-3. And we're thinking, okay, this is FaZe's moment now to keep the economy low. And it all came off the back of really poor full buys and force buys from Vitality with pistols, with an AWP here and there, or an M4 sprinkled in. These are completely avoidable mistakes. On another day, FaZe would be 8-3 in the lead, maybe even 9-2.
And that's the problem, isn't it? When FaZe make those small mistakes consistently and they get punished. We said that Renegades didn't necessarily punish when players weren't showing up, when mistakes were being made. Now they're being put to the task for it, and it's giving Vitality alleyways back into this game that they simply shouldn't otherwise have, and it's going to put FaZe in a really awkward position with this buy. 3 Kriegs, a Deagle for Nico. We know what he can do with that, and a Mach 10 for Rain to try and get some damage out to perhaps try and steal a round away from Vitality.
Make no mistake, though, even though FaZe have let this one slip a little bit, to already have 6 rounds on T side is solid. I think if you'd offered them this before the game started, they would have said yes. Anything additional from here on out is a nice, juicy bonus. But you better believe the competitors in FaZe are looking for 10. Vitality, 3 smokes still to their name. But FaZe are going to be poking around the A side, see if they can draw out some of this vital utility on the CT side of things.
ZywOo has just rotated away as well. He's gone towards that B bomb site, and that perhaps opens up the opportunity for FaZe. They're actually just going to back off a little bit. They've still got utility to burn as well, the T side. They've still got opportunities to try and get into this bomb site with 50 seconds left on the clock, but it looks like some executive decisions may well be being made. 3 players making their way all the way back in towards Spawn. And is this all an elaborate fake from FaZe? They're starting to set themselves up, or is it the double fake? The bomb is still in the apartments. FaZe not committed to anything just yet, but it's going to be Rain and Nico as the fake nades go out towards the B bomb site, hoping to draw the rotations away from Vitality. 3 players, though, stand firm on the A bomb site as this hit looks to come through.
Time is of the essence. 20 seconds to go. They need that 3rd player to rotate, and it's going to be Alex. He's making moves. They've got a 4th player, but did they push too soon? Perhaps. Now Alex can get back close enough, and Shox is in position, but he whiffs his spray. 7 seconds to go. The bomb is being planted, and now Brokey and Rain have got to try and fend off and thwart this retake. They're going to have to stop Vitality from raising the site once more. That smoke is going to keep them binded for the time being. It's going to keep them in position, and now they're going to try and rotate with ZywOo taking point with his AWP. Who else would it be? And Apex just behind him. Bomb ticking away. 50% of that timer is remaining. ZywOo finds Brokey, who felt he had to peek on low HP, and now Rain. He is so calculated, so calm, and he's there to deliver frags. There's a second one surely coming up soon, unless they just peek him wide, but they're not going to do so. He's done enough. Surely there's not enough time to defuse this bomb. It's going to be so incredibly close, and it will detonate. Rain has clutched the round. A 2v3 goes in favor of FaZe.
How does he clutch that? 1 on 3. He holds his own. He buys so much time, and Vitality just didn't want to peek him with no offensive utility, no offensive nades to drown him out. They have to push, and as Apex does, Alex and ZywOo sit back. ZywOo just doesn't quite click E onto that bomb quickly enough. And as FaZe take the timeout, they are 7-5 up. Their economy is not reflective of that scoreline, however. And Vitality will be taking this opportunity to make some big calls as well. It looks like they want to force into this one. They want to keep that economic pressure on FaZe. Can they get away with another one of these rounds?
This game has had everything. Twists, turns, narrow escapes, narrow defusals, and detonations. And Vitality have got to scrub themselves down and try and forget what just happened. FaZe will be grinning ear to ear, but they have to get their eyes back on the prize and focus once more as they go into round 13. Firepower-wise, certainly ahead of Vitality, who have dipped into their back pocket and rummaged around for all the pennies they can find.
Again, banana control gathered by FaZe. They get away with that as well. Relatively little utility used to get that portion of the map, and perhaps an opportunity can spring from it. Currently, Vitality 3-2 split With this kind of firepower, you really need it concentrated towards one of those bomb sites. You have to have everything there when the push starts to come through. FaZe in a fantastic position with 3 AKs, a Galil, and the MAC-10 on Olaf Meister as well. They have got absolutely everything they could need as they start to push up. They take the bracket control. And FaZe, they've got everything they could possibly want for an 8th round, but we've seen these go wrong before, and it's ZywOo on the angle towards Long. A deagle in his hand, spots out the first player, looks to fall back and can't quite catch Brokey with the nade out.
Not quite. The kill, not forthcoming, but information is. That being said, 45 seconds left on the timer. This information, every second that passes by, it's less and less valuable. Additionally, Arch control has been lost for Vitality, so one of these two B players now has to realize, well, hold on, CT is a very real threat we have to contend with. This is why Shox is playing the angle at new box, but it's a FAMAS. This is not tailor-made for this kind of range. It is not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with AK-47s, and there's a Molotov there to greet him. He has to go back out into the open. It's a Galil of all the weapons that takes him down. Apex on the spray with a FAMAS, but only the 1 kill to his name. And again, FaZe, with mere seconds remaining on the timer, are able to get the bomb planted.
So little health remaining, but Coldzera finds another headshot. Finally, ZywOo's dingle sings as he gets Coldzera, but it's still a 3-on-2. There's so much damage for Vitality, but do they know it? Alex straight through the smoke, trying to get away with the cheeky play, but Rain is here towards first oranges. He's got the angle, he shut him down, and ZywOo needing the 1 versus 3. Time not on his side, he's bailing out of this. Vitality force, they don't have the economy. FaZe will have their 8th, and what a T-side it is turning into for them.
They're starting to run away with this one now, FaZe. Vitality, they've had their opportunities. Have they let too many slip through their fingers? ZywOo, intelligent call. You know he hates to do it. He's full of confidence. He's brimming with ability right now in the prime of his career. But at some point, you have to realize the deck's stacked too far against you. So he will keep the AK. There's not much they can really do behind this Vitality. And you'd assume that they're going to just save up for the last round of the half and not throw everything in right now.
Yeah, and just let ZywOo really do whatever he fancies in this round. Like, it's near enough unwinnable. There's 2 P250s and a deagle invested into for the CT side. So I would say just let ZywOo off the leash at this point. What can he find with that AK? What rifles can you maybe scavenge? And it looks like Vitality are literally playing bodyguard at this point. Shox with the shoulder peek will spot out Rain as ZywOo makes the rotation around. And Alex actually finding a nice dink onto Coldzera. It will be the P250 that deals the most early damage for the CT side, but off the back of that, FaZe are setting up for this full B execute. ZywOo, he's going to be a little bit too late into this one. The smoke will keep him cut off, and it's all about how much he can get boosted up. He spots out Nico, can't quite land the spray. He'll finish it through the smoke, though. Finally taken down by Olaf. At least the AK recoverable for Vitality, but it's all about how much more damage they can get away with here.
AK retrieved, ready, prime for action in the hands of Shox. Olaf flicking to the head of RPK. Rinses and repeats onto Shox. Alex can do very little, but maybe perch up for some exit frags. So FaZe have every opportunity now to take double digits going through to the second half. A 9-5 lead. We are going to have a full buy from Vitality. Could include an AWP if ZywOo wants to go down to a glass cannon. But the fact he's picked up an incendiary first suggests otherwise. So it looks like it could just be full M4s and assault rifles.
This is the opportunity for Vitality. They have to get a 6th round. If FaZe go into the halftime with double digits, Vitality are going to be in so much trouble. And what a buy for FaZe to try and finish it at the end of the half. 3 Kriegs, 2 AK-47s, full utility across the board. They had a rough start to this one, but now they're going from strength to strength as Alex takes the banana control. Nico only able to find 1 before Shox trades him back, and FaZe Clan, for the first time in a long time, find themselves with a man disadvantage, taking the bracket control and perhaps looking to up the pace a little bit after those losses.
And for one of the first times actually taking really aggressive banana control. They'd like to smoke down bottom, but not push behind. Maybe Alex overzealous in his aggression. They were thinking about wrapping around towards B, which could have been suicide with Shox stood there. But now the pick on B, they can start to weasel their way back onto the banana side of the map. Still a minute as well. They have a smoke, now 2 smokes. One's been picked up from the corpse of middle. They can toss one onto CT, they can toss one onto Coffins, and they can push behind this, and it's going to be Shox that's there to greet them. He can't see anything for the time being. He just needs to stay alive. He needs to be that pivot point, that foundation in which Vitality can build off. They can try and reap this last round of the half. It's all been going against them. coldzera is in the perfect position, nowhere to be seen from Apex's perspective. He just simply didn't expect it at all. And now coldzera is going to go down to the hands of ZywOo. It is a one-and-done position. ZywOo on the drive-by, somehow, someway, best rain in such a tentative position. And now Brokey on the pillars, going to be trying to use that as his safeguard, use that as his bodyguard, and he does get them across the line. 5-10 in favor of FaZe in our third map.
What a performance from FaZe across the board as well. That T side was monumental, and they've really given themselves a platform now. 6 rounds required, and you would even perhaps say that if Vitality don't take this pistol, life is going to start looking very, very bleak for the Frenchman.
It's going to get scary, but they still have a chance to bounce back. This second pistol, so incredibly important. We'll find out if they can do it after this very short break.
Baby, leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after.
We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. You're mine, I wanna run away. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. And I see we're there, and I feel the lies, and I feel the same. Forever who we are, no matter if we
Welcome back to our live coverage here of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2020. We're on the B stream. Nothing B about this game, though. FaZe Clan and Vitality have been going at it at each other for the duration of this matchup, and it's really delivered. FaZe Clan, though, 10-5 lead, really shifting it up a gear on Inferno, but now they move across the CT side, which is just going to be so very scary for Vitality. They've got to get in early here, otherwise this could be done.
It feels like, not often you say this, but the pistol round is the swing. RPK on his favored P250, 2 smokes and 2 flashes between Shox and Apex to try and back him up. But this has to go well for Vitality. There's no two ways about it. It's been a rough first half of Inferno for them. And if they want any chance of getting back into this one, it has to start now. Apex rounding the corner off the back of that flashbang will force Nico back into CT, but Vitality, as of yet, non-committal. They are at least causing Olof's rotation, but look at this from Cold. So aggressive. Gets the first one tap, immediately traded though. ZywOo even going to grab himself a USPS at the end of things, and that's a significant upgrade at range as Vitality looking to take every advantage. They've got another huge headshot from ZywOo, and now this B-bomb site really looks vulnerable.
Just as you were saying, the USP has an advantage over the Glock. ZywOo uses it against the oncoming CTs down middle, leaving Nico in a rough position. Brokey can't hold it off. Just gets pushed down by ZywOo. They fake as if it's B, and ZywOo with another one, landing nothing but headshots. 4 kills on the board. He's on for the ace. Is Apex going to deny this? Yes, he will. ZywOo will not care, though.
A one-man band, isn't he? ZywOo, he gets the refrag, immediately picks up the USPS, and then everything he does is touched with gold. Headshot after headshot. Even when players have the drop on him, it does not matter. It's just like Nico on Nuke. Nothing matters when ZywOo is in the server, and he single-handedly saves that pistol round for Vitality and gives them perhaps a lifeline. FaZe, of course, will be looking to force into this one. Deagles across the board and a decent amount of utility to boot as Vitality taking no risks. ZywOo with 4 frags to his name will pick up the Krieg, a couple of MAC-10s, and in fact, RPK actually grabs a second Krieg as well, so significant firepower for the T side.
Oh, Vitality will remember what they did against FaZe in very similar purchases to this. They'll remember they twisted that knife in the back time and time again. So they are going to be playing very patiently, very intelligently for the time being. But if they give FaZe too much respect and it gets down into those dying embers of the round, this is where these pistols and crossfires can be a nuisance. So you want to give respect, but not too much. Give and take.
All about finding that balance as 3 Vitality players will take top banana control, force the smoke out as well. Brokey has now deployed his, leaving 2 remaining for FaZe Clan. One of them on Nico. The HE comes through, unfortunately doesn't connect onto anything as Vitality. They're setting up for this B execute. Utility will come over the top, and Nico and Brokey may be put into question, although Vitality don't necessarily look like they want to commit to this yet. They've kept plenty of presence down in towards spawn and mid respectively, so that first bank of nades going to be relatively useless, and that's going to allow Rain to rotate in with his smoke by even more time. But unfortunately, time's not going to matter if you leave Brokey alone on this bomb site V5. The Deagle is going to have to do it all.
It's strange that FaZe have put so many smokes down and then just have the one player here. It basically can get completely mitigated. Brokey's going to take the fight. I like the idea. It's such a one-and-done position. And now Rain's going to be able to try and pick up the slack, trying to perforate the smoke. Only gets the 1 kill, but the bomb is still crossed to coffins and gets planted down. And that should be the final resting place of FaZe in this round, round 17. It will be going the way of Vitality. Game, well and truly, is back on.
3 players saving for FaZe as well off the back of that force by Vitality. They're back in this. They 100% will be feeling that now they should be winning this game. They're going to be 10-7 up. FaZe into the next round are going to be in a very awkward position as RPK takes down Rain. They're going to have these 3 safe Deagles in the armor behind them. Brokey and Rain are going to be able to pick up essentially nothing. So again, for FaZe, it just becomes how much damage can you do before you give Vitality their 8th round, saving the 2 Kriegs and the Galil. And Alex sticking to that MAC-10. He'll be looking to farm himself plenty of cash here. ZywOo, with plenty of options as to what he picks up, is going to go for the 2nd Krieg and just really bolster the firepower for Vitality.
Not lacking across the board now for Vitality, all dipping in. Meanwhile, FaZe, $2,000 to $2,500 mark for the bulk of them. They're going to be holding fire and just keeping the Kevlar and the pistols from the bygone round. Let's give them another chance, another opportunity. It's good to actually have a round here, Wolfie, where we can actually breathe for a little bit. This one should be a slower paced one.
Thank goodness for that. I was really starting to struggle. FaZe, it's not a buy where you expect them to get anything done, but then I feel like that's one of FaZe's greatest strengths, is to make something out of nothing, as Alex is going to take the top banana control relatively unopposed. And again, it's just Nico over towards this B bomb site playing the CT angle. One flash and one smoke will force him back, but Alex is going to have to eat the Deeg bullet to make that happen. He will get across relatively unharmed, and that will be the B bomb site. Nico finally finding first blood and taking down Alex, but the bomb site has been lost in the meanwhile, and that nade may well finish the job. Brings him down low as Apex takes out his teammate Brokey. The wallbang not quite coming off for Nico, and now it is just about this damage. The 4 remaining Deagles, it looked like 3, but 4 will try and find as much damage as possible, but Olof on 9 HP has to fall back, and there's an argument to be made for Cold, especially, to save the armor at this point.
Absolutely. They can keep these 2 armors in play. That's going to certainly soften the blow economically in the next round. They'd like to try and get some exit frags and see if they can maybe take an SGR this round. But to be honest, Vitality doing a really solid job post-plan. Not hunting for frags, not getting greedy, realizing that this is going to be a longer haul, it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So don't give FaZe Clan any advantages.
FaZe, with their first buy of this second half, will pick up 4 M4s absolutely immediately. Full banks of utility on everyone except Rain as well. And that's where the armor really starts to come in. That save, the extra $1,000 you'd need to invest, that's a full bank of nades on Cold Zero. And that might be the difference in this round. Vitality, of course, going to be buying up fully 3 Kriegs, the AK. Shocks dropping down onto the Galil. And how do FaZe look to approach this round is really going to put down a marker for the remainder of this half. Do they get aggressive? Do they try and find those openings? Or do they sit passive? At the moment, Olof doing the latter, and a heavy rotation over towards the A bomb site early on from the CT side. They do leave Nico in towards CT. But as Vitality look to hit this B bomb site, Brokey currently completely alone.
There's so much faith being put in Brokey. He's consistently the player that's all alone. And especially in a full buy round like this, hefty damage inflicted to Shocks. Now he has to be that pivot point once again. A slow rotation from Off and Rain over on A, but they are going to get here momentarily. 3 smokes, 5 flashbangs, and a kit at their disposal on FaZe, but Vitality already taking solid retake positions. Alex going to be up close with ZywOo, who moves 23-8 with 128 ADR. The man is on fire once again. And with that SG in a good position and FaZe feeling worse for wear, they're already backing away. They're giving up this round. Not too many times you can say, Wolfie, that we're going to see a 10-man save come the end of the round here, but that seems to be the case.
There looked to be a little bit of confusion as well from FaZe, because Olof started his rotation in, he got to CT, then immediately turned back around and headed back towards the A bomb site. So he clearly just felt there was nothing on there. There was no opportunity. And with all 10 players kept alive, the economy takes a rather unusual turn as everybody gets a booster of cash, and we will still see, of course, full rifles across the board coming into the next round.
Precisely why FaZe pulled the plug. They still have a lead, albeit diminished. 10-5 to 10-9, not ideal, but this gives them another chance to get straight back into it. You can see the kind of scenario they'd have been in had they have lost these guns. They'd have been in an eco situation. So it was a good call. They didn't go too aggressively. Again, didn't go greedy, but this time it's going to be Rain down middle with Off. And they get a 2-for-1 trade in their favor. You ask the question, do they go aggressive? Do they go passive? There's your answer.
Pushing up, going for the aggressive play, and Olof there to back it up is the perfect call as well. Rain not actually able to get anything done, but as his life goes down, Olof takes 2 from Vitality, and you could not ask much more of the AWPer. And now, in a 3-on-4, Vitality just looking to up the pace. Pop Flash will come over the top for this push. Cold drops down into the pit meanwhile, and ZywOo with a huge job to do as Cold finds another frag onto Shocks. ZywOo and RPK remaining to try and break open this bomb site, but there's so much presence for the CT side. The rotations are starting to come in. All 4 players are here now, and as Olof takes down ZywOo, he wants more. He'll get more. 4 frags in the round for Olof, and you can see why FaZe opted to save those rifles now.
Precisely the reason. It was raining fire for so long on Vitality. I felt quite bad for ZywOo. He's like, let me in, let me in. And it's just no. Constant barrage of flames and smoke following it. FaZe, after 4 consecutive defeats, have finally become triumphant once more. And Vitality's economy still in good shape to afford for this round and the next, regardless of what happens here. But it's the kind of play down middle that Vitality are now going to expect. FaZe cannot keep doing it. It's a one and done sort of gimmicky thing to do. Maybe they'll throw it in a few rounds' time.
They'll know they can't keep pushing their luck like that as Apex takes top banana control, and FaZe playing this far more passively than they did the previous, not taking any early engagements, not taking any early risks. Their economy, whilst it will survive a little while longer, is not established yet on the CT side of things, and 3 players towards this B bomb site looking like a great read at the moment, and Olof wants to go wandering, but RPK on the Krieg has got the better angle. Counter flashbang comes in, and Nico with the double spray down starts to restore the balance. 6 HP as he finds a quick double, and that's going to funnel Vitality right in towards this A bomb site.
Flash is banked off the wall, not going to affect Rain at all. There is a smoke in his eyes, trying to use that cheeky little boosted spot to do damage. Alex on the flank, coldzera holding it down. Do they realize there's 2 players on A? One of them has just funneled away, so it's leaving coldzera alone. Alex and Shox can be making moves in momentarily, but coldzera has broken down Shox, leaving Alex 1 on 3. All 3 players are low. The first has fallen to his hands. The bomb's actually just behind him. He doesn't want to take the fire damage. Now with both of them being so low, this is very winnable. This is very doable. And Alex is so close yet so far. Nico's Deagle suppresses him. And Vitality will be devastated.
And they'll take the timeout as well. I'd just like to point out that the only reason Cold was low is he got a HE out and then forgot to put it back away, threw it at his own feet and went down to 29 HP. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It was so, so close, but not quite doable as Nico on 6 HP clutches things out. And FaZe will have the double AWP set up. It will be Brokey picking up secondary duties. He's been relatively quiet so far this game, but not as quiet as some of those Vitality boys. Look at the stats on ZywOo. He is almost single-handedly bringing them the opportunities and keeping them in this game at the moment.
How many times do we say that? It's actually unbelievable. It always seems like when Vitality are playing, ZywOo's up there, 20 plus frags, huge amounts of impact, very low deaths as well, which tells you he doesn't overstay, he doesn't do stupid peaks. He's calm, he's calculated, and full of carnage.
Vitality will need some of that carnage as well as FaZe 4 rounds away from knocking them out of IEM Katowice. Brokey on the angle towards CT, and again a passive start to things from the FaZe clan, happy to sit back and wait for their moment. It went down to the wire in the previous round, but clearly these players trust themselves. They trust their ability to sit back, wait for it to come, and repel the attack when required. Vitality set themselves up with some early map control as well. They've got Banana to their name, and they're starting to think about taking the apartments, but early presence is going to concentrate towards this B-bomb site.
Molotov allows them safe passage to the top of B, but they decide better of it. Their bomb carrier is up there in the form of RPK, who's now making moves backwards, leaving Apex alone. They are pressing, applying that pressure over on middle and A. And coldzera is thinking about maybe pulling back, but he has second thoughts. Smoke replenished. He may have actually heard that bounce off the shins of Alex, and that's 2, could be a 3rd, and coldzera sprays them all down. Kicking ass, taking names, and now FaZe just need to deal with RPK and Apex has had his legs blown out from underneath him. RPK is going to have to take the brunt of all this weight. We know he's capable of it. He is built like a tank, but ultimately, FaZe Clan are just too good that round.
Cold just brought that one out for you, Vince. And Vitality, with limited cash remaining, will be looking at a very difficult decision here. How do they play these remaining rounds? FaZe are just starting to stretch away, starting to take what looks like an unsurmountable lead, and it will be the pistol half buy for Vitality. P250s and CZ75s with nades to try and back them up. FaZe, though, they've got everything, and Brokey has actually dropped back down onto the M4, so no double AWP. The opportunity for overwhelming those players is significantly reduced.
Vitality starting to slip out of Katowice. They have to find their footing once more. Rain's going to keep it sliding, though, away from them with 3 kills. Could be stacking up for a 4th. And that's the round that follows up. Blinking, you'd have missed it. And Vitality now, they have 2 more chances.
I feel like this is it for Vitality. They've given coldzera a Krieg. The money across the board is fantastic for FaZe Clan. Vitality, they need something. They need a change. They need a way to break open a defense that feels like it's got stronger the further we've got into this second half. 4 AK-47, ZywOo, the lonely Krieg. He needs that scope to give him the power, and Vitality, again, going for this fast banana take, although there's a little more contest in the form of utility before FaZe bail away this time.
HE could do some significant damage alongside the double stack, actually. They tossed 2 down there, ZywOo and Apex feeling worse for wear. So 2 of the players that you'd want to be hampered have been hamstrung significantly. And they've barely got any map control for their efforts either. Smoke now been deployed. Still a lot of time though, so I suppose for Vitality, if you're looking at using smokes this early on, they only have 2 remaining. One of which is in the hands of Nico, so they can bolster up another smoke, but they may execute before it and not really give them a chance to do so. They're boosting up onto the second boxes. Nico, Molotov down. There's another molly being tossed in. The molly that was thrown in counteraction has been smoked out. And now coldzera is thinking twice. Does he stay? Does he go? Does he try and push through the smoke? But they're going to be given the green light. And Brokey is spraying them all down. coldzera now comes in with his SG. But RPK just about holds on. It's a 1v2 and he's going to have enough time to relocate.
He needs to play this perfectly, RPK. This is it for Vitality. Olof going to be making his way in from CT as Rain takes control of Banana. There's plenty of utility for the CT side as well. HE, a smoke and a flashbang. And I'm sure there's plenty more on the bodies of the Fallen as they make their way in. RPK sticking with the bomb, sitting on top of it to try and buy some time. And he finally looks to sneak through that smoke. He thinks he's got the lineup. He's hoping beyond all hope he can deny the defuse. Rain is right there. He gets the first headshot. RPK, he can't quite do it, but has he bought enough time? The defuse is going to try and come in for FaZe. It's going to be so close, and they haven't got it. Vitality will have 10. The tank comes in with the clutch. And Vitality, oh, they needed that round. They needed something as they call the timeout.
He's not all brawn, he's got brains as well. That was such a sick play. With the smoke going down on coffins, that fends off the coffin angle, the garden angle, and ruins. So they're assuming, right, if he's not peeking already, he's probably new box, he's probably shadow. He knows the time is so low. He knows he can use that smoke now as a shield. And perfect timing on the play. He had that calculated, man. That is such a slick play from RPK. You really can't understate how huge that could be. And if Vitality come back and win this now, that was the moment.
And you couldn't ask for better from RPK, right? You said he's this player who is consistently there, chugging along, finding the frags, and then he becomes the star for a brief moment with the 1v2. He doesn't find the second kill, but that doesn't matter. He finds the round regardless. The only problem for Vitality is it was so expensive. ZywOo is now on a Mac 10. Apex with a Galil. And FaZe Clan, they're laughing all the way to the bank. They have absolutely everything as Olof picks up the AWP and the nades rain into Alex.
They may be laughing, Wolfie, but you better believe there's a single tear going down the cheek because they knew if they won that round, it was pretty much over. Now they have to go again. Alex obliterated down to 32. They're going to mix up the pace again. There's flashes in. There's no counteractive nades tossed in just yet. They're not expecting this, but a good flip from Nico, who's got himself 2, and Brokey's holding from new box. Maybe that last round's not going to be the heartbreak after all. They've got over it double quick. And FaZe Clan 15-10.
So quickly as well. Brokey and Nico just absolutely destroy the push from Vitality, and they destroy the economy while they're at it. The Frenchman with with nothing to buy into this one. You can see some pistols, some utility, but how do they make that work? They try the same strategy twice in the row. This time, RPK isn't there to bail them out. And as they fall back onto CZs, Deagles, and a MAC-10 for RPK, how do they make this work, Vitality?
That is the question that they will be asking themselves and leaning on Alex to give them the answers. ZywOo has slowed down from 23-10 to 23-14. His ADR has been dropping. That is always the issue with relying on one player. If he starts to slump a little bit, who's there to pick up the slack? Rain, he's not giving them any chance. They're actually double stacking the balcony as well, and with Olof watching from Arches, this is such a difficult situation for Vitality. They're going to be pushing in, but Brokey again is doing such a sick job of holding from New Box. This angle is tailor-made for his ability. Nico smoked out, but Brokey still being alive offers him a chance to get back onto the site sooner rather than later. They can see the Vitality. Yes, you've got B, but look how fast this rotation's coming in from FaZe. Olof gets caught trying to transition across to his AWP, but everybody is falling. They're dropping like flies, and Alex is going to be the last man standing and the last man to fall. Vitality have been eliminated, and FaZe Clan move on to the playoffs.